All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. John Bolt Robert back out here with you on the back porch. I've had a couple of people ask me about my videos, about my jugs that I be doing. So we gonna make up a couple of them. I got just enough stuff. I went to the hardware store the other day. You can buy all this stuff at the hardware store to make these jugs and stuff. Um, I You need a piece of 3/4 inch, just regular PVC pipe, uh, some 3/4 inch couplings. These are 3/16 1 inch eye hooks. Is all these are. Let's see if I can get that on the camera. Some pipe glue, some fishing line for your leader, some old trot line, tape measure, drill bit, and some couple pieces of rebar. These here are about 12 inches long, and some little weights. Of course, a fish hook here and there. But anyways, we're fixing to make up a couple of these. Need a tape measure too to measure out all this stuff. So, and a knife. Let me find out what I've done with my knife over here. Had to go round up my knife, but basically I measured my my little pool noodle here. Is all this is. These pool noodles come in different sizes. Make sure you get the big ones. You can get these at the dollar store or actually the hardware store. I got this one at the hardware store. But I measured out 1 foot 12 inches. We're gonna cut that dude right there. Try to cut it as straight as I can. And that's what I need right there. We're gonna go ahead and cut 2 of these dudes. I got me another one measured out right there. Try to cut it, like I said, as straight and as neat as I can. So all I need is 2 of them. Got them cut. So should be done with the knife for a second anyways. Get you some kind of something to cut your PVC pipe. I got these little trusty little clippers here that I use. Now, your PVC pipe here only has to be about 2 foot long. I'm going to cut 24 inches, 2 foot long here. Cut that. I'm going to cut me 2 pieces since we're making 2 jug lines. That was Miss Renee calling me. I'll call her back in a minute. She don't want nothing. Hi, Miss Renee. I'm busy. But anyways, cut you out 2 of them, about 24 inches long. All right, so we got our PVC pipe here cut. Basically, all you do, run that dude up on there. I'd run it up there about halfway for right now. Then take you some pipe glue here. I gotta open this dude up here. I hadn't even opened it up yet. Get you some pipe glue. We're gonna go ahead and glue one end of this right there. Oh, like that right there. Let's see if I can get me a paper towel here and wipe off all that extra here before it drips all over my picnic table here. Clean that little spot up there before it dries. Don't want that on my picnic table. But anyways, put that on there like that right there. Then what I turn around and do is take my little piece of rebar, and in a minute I'll show you why I put a piece of rebar in there at the end of the video. Put that down in there just like that right there. Go ahead and, all right. Then take your other cap there. We're going to go ahead and put it on. Make sure you put that piece of rebar in there, because last time I made some of these, I was out here making them, forgot to put my darn rebar in there before I wound up gluing both my ends on. Now, whichever end you're going to have your noodle on, you want to put you some glue on it. So we're going to slide this down just a little bit. Take me a little bit of PVC glue here. Get you a real good little dose of it there. Put on there. Soak it down real good. Cinch it up there. Let that set. And it'll set up for a minute. So we're going to let this set for about 10 minutes. Let that glue dry on there. And then we're going to come right back to this. All right, guys. It's been about 10 minutes. This thing here ought to be dried enough to where I can do what I need to do next. Let me grab my old trusty drill here. Get you a little smallest little drill bit that you can find. That's just happened to be the first one I grabbed. And what you're going to do down here on this end down here, you're going to just drill you a little small pilot hole is all you need for your eye boat. All right. Just drill your little small pilot hole right there in the end of that, dude. Take you one of these little eye bolts here. Like I said, these are 1/16 little eye bolts. What I turn around and do, just for kicks and giggles, I take me a little bit of glue here and put that on my eye bolt too. And put that down in that hole there and get it good and started there. You may have to take your wire pliers once you get it in there to cinch it all the way down as tight as you can get that, dude. At first it's going to be a little bit tight till you get it started on there good. Like I said, just cinch it down there and get it on there as close on there as you can. All right, we got that there. Got that ready. Now we are ready for our line, for our main line. Let me grab me a little knife or a cigarette lighter over here to burn this end and cinch this end up real good. I like to burn these ends because if not, they'll fray like that right there. The last time I was out here, I guess I didn't burn the ends. Can't remember what I used this for the last time, but just kind of do that right there and wipe the end of it off there right after you get it all put out, because you don't want to burn your fingers, that's for sure. All right, now what I normally generally do with this here, I take me about 7 or 8 foot. I'm 6 foot, so what I do, I reach up there as tall as I can, make sure that my line is touching the ground there, and that should be about 7 or 8 foot right there. And then, like I said, just burn it in two right here with your lighter. Get all that crud off the end of your line there. All right. Then we're going to take this right here, run it through here, and to be honest with you, I just tie a couple old granny knots in this thing. It ain't got to be nothing. We're going to tie 3 in here just for kicks and giggles. It's not got to be nothing super tight. I mean, it's not like we're going to be trying to catch some 100-pound fish out there. All we're catching is some, at the biggest, probably a good 40-pounder or so. All right. Then on this end here, what I like to do, I can find out what I just did with my swivels. I know I laid 2 swivels up here, but of course I don't see them at the moment. But that's okay. Here they are right here. So I take my little swivel right there, and actually what I'm going to do on this one here, I think, is I'm going to do me a paddle bar knot. If I can get this knot in here, I can get the line through that hook, right through that eye. There we go. It did not want to go in there at first. And then see if I can, that end on there is kind of big. Whenever I flattened it out, I didn't know it was that big. But anyways, all we're going to do, like I said, with this here, make us a little small Palomar knot. Come back through your thing there. Cinch all that down. Make sure all your knots are all in there good. Cinch it all down good. That dude there ain't gonna go nowhere. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I got about 6 inches right there on my tag line. I'm actually gonna go ahead and try and get my lighter to work here. Yeah, that don't want to work. We'll just cut it for right now, and I'll burn it a little bit later. But if you can burn it, cut it pretty close if you can. That Palomar knot, it's not going to go nowhere. All right. And then, take me a piece of leader line here. Take me a couple of feet, only 2 or 3 feet. It ain't got to be exact. I actually have made some of these 6 foot long. But anyways, I just do a loop knot that I call here. And all it is tie it over here, make it high, do two granny knots here, and get it. I can get it lined up here. There's 1 little granny knot, and then there's 2 little granny knots. Cinch that down. That's gonna make you an eye, something other like that right there. All right. So then we take that dude and we're gonna run that through there like that and pull this back through here like that and just cinch it up that way instead of just tying a Palomar knot or anything. That's what I make that little loop knot there. Tie that on your swivel like that right there. Trying to get it on there. There we go. It didn't want to get all the way up on there tight. Then cut your tag end off right there. All right, and then that's going to be your leader line. All right, now I need to get me some circle hooks here. I thought I had all this laid out here, but I guess not. So I got some circle hooks here that I got from Mr. Daniel over at Catfish Sumo. These here are some 8/0 circle hooks. Now I use the thin wire hooks on these because reason why sometimes I'll use hot dogs and a lot of times I'll use chicken breast on my hooks, and them right there work just great. So then turn around and all I do is just a regular old snail knot here. For my hook here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I like to wrap mine about 6 or 7 loops there. So you can pull all that up on your end of your hook there before you tag in. There we go. There we go. It just slipped down there. Tie all that in there, and cinch all that down real good. And then turn around and I'm gonna cut this little tag in off right here. Ooh, that hook sharp. But anyways, that's gonna be my jug. And then whenever I get ready to you cut this off here. Whenever I get ready to roll it up, I just roll my line up on my jug like that right there. Hey, Mr. Hummingbird. I don't know if you guys can see my hummingbird feeders up out here. I've got 10 hummingbird feeders that I fill up just about every day. I had to fill them up completely full. But I think all states actually require you to put some kind of a identification number on here. I'm in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee wants you to put your TWR number on there, which is your fishing license number, and your name. All it is a way that they can identify whose it is if they need to. So anyways, that's our first one. So we're going to go ahead and put our second one together here. Like I said, I'll take our 3/4 inch PVC pipe here. Slide it up on our little jug there. Take our glue here. We're going to go ahead and glue this end here. Slide that cap on there. So, like I said, that was a 3/4 inch caps when they use on this because I'm using 3/4 inch PVC pipe. All right. Take our piece of 12-inch piece of rebar there. Put that down in there. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to glue our other end with our PVC pipe. And we're going to slide that up on there. I like to give it just a little bit of a twist once I get it on there. And then I'm going to take this right here, put me a little bit of PVC pipe glue on my pipe here. On that end, slide it up there snug. I like that right there. Now, why you put that glue on there is because after a year or so, and you use these for a while, this thing here will slide up and down your noodle, and you don't want that to do that. You want it to stay in one spot there. Now, the piece of rebar that's on the inside, you want it to move around, of course. All right. So, we're going to take our little drill here. Make our little pilot hole for our next eye. Right here. Get me another little eye bolt out of here. I bought these little eye boats. I think there's a 20 or 30 in this thing here. Let's see what it was. 40. There was 40 in there when I bought it. And of course, you're gonna lose a jug here and there, but I've made some for some other people that live around here. They was wanting me to make them some up, so I made them some up. But see if I can get this eye boat started. There it goes. Wanting to be cantankerous there for a second. Let me see if I can get this here. I'm gonna cheat. I got me a little drill bit there. I'm gonna stick through the eye of that thing and twist it on there and twist it down there good and snug. Like I said, put your little bit of pipe PVC glue on there so it'll seal up any kind of hole there if there's any hole or anything left out there. We're gonna get us another piece of string here. Like I said, it ain't got to be perfect. It's about 7 or 8 foot, and that's gonna be fine. I'm gonna cut this with a knife because my lighter don't seem to be wanting to work today. All right. I hope that this is gonna work here without that so frayed ends there. I'm gonna turn around and on this end, on this jug here, I'm gonna try something a little bit different. With this one, I'm gonna actually use a Palomar knot if I can on this end here. Let's see how this is gonna work. Put that on there, tie that. I know I didn't on that other one, but I don't know why Palomar knot wouldn't work on this end down here too. Cinch all that in, pull that all that tight. You got to be careful with them Palomar knots because, especially using something this big of a string line. There we go. Got that there. I'm done with my pipe glue, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my lid back on it. Snug it up just a little bit so I don't forget, and it dries out next time I get ready to use it. So anyways, we're going to come back down here on this end here like we did earlier. Put my swivel on and see if I can get this thing on here. We're going to put another Palomar knot on this end down here. If I can get it back through that hole there. Let's see. That's why I like to burn it, because it's trying to kink up on me there. There we go. I finally got it up through there. And then get it back through there. Like I said, just do your little Palomar knot right here. Bring all that knot back around there and cinch all that up and good and tight. There we go. After a little while, that thing will tighten up good and tight. But anyways, I'm going to take my pliers here, grab a hold of it. These little barrel swivels here, I think they're 100-pound or 200-pound barrel swivels. I'm not real sure, but they'll hold a big enough fish for what I want. Get you another piece of leader line here, 2 or 3 foot. I'm gonna cut that dude. Get my swivel in here. Put this on here. Like I said, I'm gonna tie me a little Palomar knot on this one. You can tie a Palomar knot or or granny knot, what you call it, a loop granny knot, I guess. I'm just going to use a Palomar knot right here. Cinch all that down. And by the way, for my leader, what I'm thinking about it, I'm using some, let's see, what is this, 40 pound, just some 40 pound mono. You can buy that at your local bait and tackle store there. Get you a good little roll of it there. Cut my tag in there on my end there with my swivel. Then we're gonna come down here and make us another snail knot here on our hook down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I actually had enough to do 7 reps on that one. Cinch all that up. There we go. Get a little old snail knot right there. Let me see here where my little clippers at, my little knife here. I normally carry my little powder toenail clippers to do this, but I didn't get them out with me today. What I like to do is put my hook on something that's going to hold, pull all my knots, make sure everything's going to hold. Oh yeah, you can catch a 100-pound. You can catch a 100-pound fish on that, and he's not going to break nothing because that jug, it's just going to go down into the water until he gets good and tired. So make sure that my jug there is floating real good, and we're going to roll this all up right here. Like I said, we can roll this up. I'm going to cut this tag line here just a little bit more off right here, so it ain't just dangling out there. Now, I know in the state of Tennessee, check your laws in your state, but I know in the state of Tennessee, I can only have 1 hook on this line. Some states, I'm not sure, I think you can have 2 hooks on, but the state of Tennessee where I'm at, I can only have one hook on that line. Another thing is with these here, where I fish at, in the water that I fish at, I can only have 25 of these in the water at one time. Some places it's 10, some places it's 25. One of the other states that I fish, I think it's 50 over there. So make sure you check your laws on all that. But that's how you make them dudes up real quick, short. We're gonna run around to the front porch, actually out to the goldfish pond, and we're gonna put this thing in here, and I'm gonna show you why I put that piece of rebar in there. So let's run around to the front porch to the goldfish pond real quick. So we out here out in the front yard now. We're here at the goldfish pond. We're gonna show you what this little piece of rebar does. So basically, what happens is when you put this pool noodle in the water, when you first get to it, you want to make sure that your rebar is on this end of the noodle. Okay. So what happens is it's floating on top of the water like this right here. What happens is once you get a fish on and he pulls on this line right here, it's going to stand up like that. And if you hear that rattle right there, that actually helps the fish. When he hears it, it scares him, and he's first thing he's going to do is try to jolt and pull that thing down. And I've been across the lake, I don't know, 200 or 300 yards, and you can hear that thing whenever it hits. So anyways, we're going to spin around here, and let me get you guys in the water right there. I'm going to demonstrate to you how this thing works. So when you got it in the water, you bait it up, it's floating on top of the water, just like that right there. All right, when your fish comes along, he's going to come along, he's going to bite it. And as soon as he bites that thing, it's going to stand up like that right there. So you know when it stood up like that right there, you know that you got a bite or a fish on there. If he's on there, you're going to see this thing bouncing up and down like that. And he may take that thing all the way under a couple of times, actually. But you'll see it standing up like that right there. And it's going to float just like that right there. That's why you have that piece of 12-inch rebar in there. So it'll stand up. and float like that. And when you get over there to your fish, you know, you just pull this up, pull your line out, get your fish off there. Make sure when you're ready to put it back in there that your rebar is on this end here. Bait it right back up, set it back in the water, so to do the same thing. Next fish comes along, he pulls on that thing, it's gonna stand up. So that's how I do my jug lines. I just thought I'd make a quick little video like this here real quick. I'd had a couple of people over at one of the lakes that I fish at ask me how I made them up and if I could make some up. I make these dudes up. For me to make them up, normally whenever I make them up, I make about 20 or 30 of them at a time. I done the math. It cost me $3.50 a piece to make these. If I make them for somebody, I'm going to charge them about $10 a piece to make them. They're easy to make, easy to do, nothing to it. So, with that said, guys, get out there and catch your Mexican catfish. I love catching little channel cats. Anything, you know, you go to a little farm pond or something like that. I've even used these things in the Mississippi River. They're hard to keep up with in the river, but like if you got a pond or a lake, somewhere where you got very little current, these dudes here, that's your trick. They're fun to catch little catfish with. But then, yeah, anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Make sure you hit that notification bell here on YouTube. YouTube will notify you every time we put out a video. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Peace.